All right, welcome to a morning video here. Morning videos are great. Start off the day right. Um, Now, in the last video, we finished uh, section 3A. And so we didn't finish section 3, we finished the first part of section 3. Section 3 will happen in 4 parts. So the first part of section 3 really made the case, and convincingly to me, that AI is going to become a multi-trillion dollar space over the next few years. And that's because there'll be a race to superintelligence, and nation states all over the world will do anything they can to get the smartest AI. Because once you have the smartest AI, you own the world basically. It's almost like you can think of it like the Gatling gun was used to colonize parts of Africa, and there's no defense to this pretty primitive technology by the day's standards. So imagine. And it was like that a lot of the times in the past. Like, there were a lot of examples in the past where a group of a few hundred people were able to overthrow a civilization of millions, because of the discrepancy in technology. So we're entering an era where that could be the case. A small group of even just one person that has the best super intelligence on the planet, can just always be so many steps ahead of everyone else, and always know exactly what to do, where to station their troops, where to make strategic decisions and strategic uh, actions, and everyone else is just fumbling around in the dark. And not only that, the power of persuasion, the power of propaganda of a super intelligence is going to be much more powerful. So it doesn't even depend on force or bullets being fired. It really depends on on the chips, on the data centers, on the power, the things outlined in, and by power I mean the like power plants, and the things outlined in there, made the case that the United States is actually pretty well positioned to be at the forefront of this technological drive. Now, there were some kind of controversial things said, which is that, in order to make this a reality, we're going to have to give up on climate change. In my opinion, climate change is a really serious problem. But in the author's opinion, despite climate change being real and a serious problem, it's not as serious of a problem as uh, super intelligence being firmly within the hands of people who do not have a vision beyond themselves for the world becoming a better place. That is basically the biggest problem we have right now, to put the power of AI into a small minority that does not have a good control of their emotions. They behave very, kind of erratically. That does not care if anyone but themselves and their close knit circle benefits. That's a horribly problematic situation, and that's kind of responsible for a lot of the big suffering and tragedies throughout history. So the author argues that, when it comes to climate change, it's admirable to try to do what we can to mitigate it, and to have these energy efficient data centers. But in the end, it's just, there's a bigger problem, and the bigger problem is who controls this super intelligence, who's the first to the table at super intelligence, and who gets the Gatling gun, who gets this which will seem primitive technology. Because even when you get AGI, I mean, honestly, my usage of ChatGPT, especially personally, just on my phone, just talk, hey, what's up, how you doing? has been game changing for me. I rearranged my apartment so that, because I realized that I needed a sleep staging area, I needed a place to sit down in my office space, so that I stay in my office space and I work more effectively, because I'm not constantly leaving my office space to do something else where I can go and sit down. I now have a space where I can sit down in my office, which means that I can continue working even though I'm not. Even though I'm too tired to stand up, which is important if I'm exercising and in a recovery phase. So yeah, that's where we're at. Is he pled his case? He laid out the table, and he's going one by one through all of the. He went one by one through all of the things that might come up and might. Make it so that this superintelligent explosion won't happen. The power is just not enough. We don't have enough power. Well, there's the advancements in it's a multifaceted technological growth. It doesn't just depend on the power, but yes, the power is a bottleneck. Now, if we focus fully on this, like we did the Manhattan Project, and really take this the utmost seriously, just with the natural gas resources we have in the United States alone, we will have enough power to do this, and that's never minding things like advancement, things like nuclear power plants, or building new power in a urgent way. The way power is built now, it raises at a very dismal small percentage year after year. So we could make changes and make choices as a society to raise that percentage to try to be the first to superintelligence. But it doesn't totally depend on that. Advancements in algorithms will make a big improvement. So it's a multi-faceted approach to technological advancement, and I say that a lot because it's important. It's not just going to come down to one thing. So now one thing that there is a lot of this advancement came from these special computer chips. So the Taiwan, so TSMC, the Taiwan Superconductor Manufacturing Company, is who produces the majority of these chips. There's also and then one thing, just kind of aside, I don't think I'll go into it. This company actually they make public announcements, and they're not as optimistic about the future of AI as the author is. The author might be a little bit controversial in this. This might not be the best document to read regarding the future of AI, because he's doing a lot of napkin kind of rough calculations here. The opinion of this company and the spokespersons of it would be a great second opinion, but unfortunately I don't think I'll be diving into that. So, but let's look at the official page, because this is one of the key companies for sure. So this manufactures the components with which you build things like chips, you build things like data centers. So very, very important company where a lot of this is coming from. So let's go to the press center, and then let's go to, so here's the latest news. We've got revenue report, board of directors meeting. We've got recent events. They're hiring in the U.S., and we've got press releases. So let's look in the news archives, and then let's search for technology, and we're gonna search for it for all years, and we're gonna search for artificial intelligence. Oh, you know what? Well, the author actually linked it in in here. So I think that's a better place to do it. But anyways, what I want to say is this company is one of the leaders. So this is an important company to follow, and even more importantly, this might be a good company to invest in. If you look at the year-to-date growth, it's grown a lot. If you look at the 5-year growth, it's a little bit all over the place, but it's at a peak now. And remember, this is we're at the forefront of the technology explosion here. So the author's making the case that this sort of thing, we're still in this part of the graph here. So this big spike here at the end, the author will argue is this part of the graph. And then later, especially 2027, 2030, when this becomes such a big deal worldwide, this sort of thing will happen again. So this high point here where it rose to what it is now, 167 per share. Look at this. It rose 2.5, so 2,500% pretty much over since its foundation, which was granted in 1999. So it's kind of had a long. So, but if you're investing in it for 20 years, hey, I'll take a 2,000, 2,500 gain. Like, that sounds good to me. Even if it's over 2 years. Now, NVIDIA should be similar because NVIDIA is one of the leading companies in this space. If we look at the max of NVIDIA, now it gets really crazy. The growth of NVIDIA has been nearly 300%. So it's a good bet. Now, when I was a kid, and this was a big joke in the movie Austin Powers. He had a time machine. So what he did is he went back in time and invested in stocks. So we can see if you would have gone back in time and you would have invested in Starbucks, as was the joke, you wouldn't have made all that much compared to if you really believe in this AI boom. You would have done better than TSM, but NVIDIA, is pretty darn good. The stock price is much higher, and the percentage increase during its entire life is way higher. So this would have been a really, really good bet if they remake that movie. It'd probably make more sense for them to invest in NVIDIA rather than Starbucks, although they wouldn't have had the opportunity to do that until 1999. Now, Amazon is another one where you might think, oh, Amazon, yeah, if I could only go back in time and invest in Amazon, I'd be rich. Well, you would. You'd have a great growth. Let's say you invested $10,000 into Amazon. You would have a gain of that amount of percent. So you just times it by 206,088, and you'd have $2 million if all you did was invested $10,000 into Amazon at the beginning when it was costing 0.09 cents. So you're not going to get that kind of gain probably, but you could do pretty well for yourself. You could beat the some of the other. You could beat the S&P 500, I think, pretty easily if you are really well informed about what the future is really realistically going to look like, and you make the right stock investments. And we can see if you went back in time and you did that with Starbucks, if you did that with Amazon, you'd have lost to NVIDIA. So NVIDIA is already growing at an insane rate, and it's yeah. So one thing I want to say too is so I've taken a direct action. I really believe that this is the future. I kind of agree with the author, although I should probably get a second opinion. um let's look at like Microsoft fall. Yeah, so Microsoft does even better. Microsoft is probably the company you'd really want to invest in. But you know, that's the point. Like Nvidia could be that kind. But anyways, I've decided to kind of change course in what I've been studying. I went for that JNCIE That's where this channel was born from. So you know, I'm fundamentally more of a service provider sort of network engineer. I have the bulk of my experiences in service provider, and the bulk of my education at this point is for service provider. You know, and I'm just not sure how much over the future that will equate to you know, ongoing growth in the way that AI development will, and the author is spelling out trillions of dollars per year. So we can see Cisco pretty well. You know, it was a good bet. Let's take a look at some of the other, or at Arista as well. So yeah, Arista's still got a long ways to go, and Arista is a leader in data center networking. So now, one thing that's kind of interesting about the Arista stock is the price per share is really high, and it looks so. Yeah, I don't know, but basically, I feel like you know, if we're at the forefront of this intelligence revolution, hey, it's probably is a good time to invest in the stock market, and that's what the author says as well. All right, so so yeah, that's everything. That's the summary up so far. So I started another series, just an introduction video where I'll be learning more about data centers, and hopefully try to be the benefactor of this through perhaps some stock investments, and definitely through becoming kind of more educated in data centers. All right, so let's move on here. So number 3B, lock down the labs, security for AGI. The nation's leading AI labs treat security as an afterthought. Currently, they're basically handling the key secrets for AGI. They're handing the key secrets for AGI to the CCP, which stands for the Chinese Communist Party, on a silver platter. Securing the AGI secrets and weights. So after the AGI is trained, it gets weights. So you can actually kind of steal the AGI just by getting the weights, and then you don't have to do the training because you already have the results of the training. So these weights files are what state actors and basically entities that want to commit a cyber crime like stealing, you know, a file. This is the target they'll be going after. So securing the AGI secrets and weights used against state actor threat will be an immense effort, and we're not on track. They met in the evening in Wigner's office. Sillard, so we're talking about the Manhattan Project a lot here, because the author is thinks this is going to be like that. It's going to be another Manhattan Project sort of thing. So Ziller outlined the Columbia data, Wheeler reports, and the preliminary indications from it that at least two secondary neutrons emerge from each neutron-induced fission. Did this not mean that a nuclear explosive was certainly possible? Not necessarily, Bohr countered. So that's Niels Bohr, very important scientific figure. We tried to convince him, Teller writes, that we should go ahead with fission research, but we should not publish the results. We should keep the results secret, lest the Nazis learn of them and produce nuclear explosions first. Bohr insisted that we would never succeed in producing nuclear energy. He also insisted that secrecy must never be introduced in physics. So that's kind of an interesting take there. And that's by Niels Bohr. This is from, it looks like a book, The Making of the Atomic Bomb, page 430. That would be a good one for me to read, but there's not really a place for me to do that unless I develop a home reading habit, off camera, which I'd love to do. I want to do that, but it's kind of, I find it very difficult to read a actual printed book, because on a screen, the screen's lit up. You can change the font text. You don't have to crane your neck. You can have it be ergonomic. So I'll add this to cart just to keep track of it, but I'm really kind of learning that if I buy a paper book, it just sits and it doesn't get read for the most part, which is the case with digital books as well. You just can't read every book in the world. But anyway, on the current course, the leading Chinese AGI labs won't be in Beijing or Shanghai. They'll be in San Francisco and London. In a few years, it will be clear that the AGI secrets are the United States' most important national defense secrets, deserving treatment on par with B-21 bomber or Columbia-class submarine blueprints, let alone the proverbial nuclear secrets. But today, we are treating them the way we would random SAS software. At this rate, we're basically just handing superintelligence to the CCP. All the trillions we will invest and mobilization of America industrial might, the efforts of our brightest minds, none of that matters if China or others can simply steal the model weights. All a finished AI model is, all AGI will be, is a large file on a computer, or key algorithmic secrets, the key technical breakthroughs necessary to build AGI. And I need a break. I'll be right back. All right, welcome back. So I've got at least another 20 minutes here. So, yeah. So those weights files are going to be a major cybersecurity target, and they already are. America's leading AI labs self-proclaim to be building AGI. They believe that the technology they are building will, before the decade is out, be the most powerful weapon America has ever built. But they do not treat it as such. They measure their security efforts against random tech startups, not key national defense projects. As the AGI race intensifies, as it becomes clear that superintelligence will be utterly decisive in international military competition, we have to face the full force of foreign espionage. Currently, labs are barely able to defend against script kiddies, let alone have North Korea-proof security, let alone be ready to face the Chinese Ministry of State Security, bringing its full force to bear. And this won't just be, and this won't just matter years in the future. Sure, who cares if GPT-4 weights are stolen? What really matters in terms of weight security is that we can secure the AGI weights down the line, so we have a few years, you might say. Though if we're building AGI in 2027, we really have to get moving. But the AI labs are developing into algorithmic secrets, the key technical breakthroughs, the blueprints, so to speak, for the AGI right now. In particular, the reinforcement learning slash self play slash synthetic data slash Etsy next paradigm. After LLMs to get past the data wall, AGI level security for algorithmic secrets is necessary years before AGI level security for weights. These algorithmic breakthroughs will matter more than a 10x or 100x larger cluster in a few years. This is a much bigger deal than export controls on compute, which the USG has been presciently, intensely pursuing. And I'm not sure what the USG is. Right now, you needn't even mount a dramatic espionage operation to steal these secrets. Just go to any San Francisco party or look through the office windows. So USG, let's try to figure out what that is. I don't think that's what it is. All right. Well, you know what? We're gonna. So, in the context of this paragraph, what does USG stand for? I mean, before ChatGPT, there'd be basically no way to find this out. I did the Google search. The Google search did not work. The Google search failed because oh, there was recently an update in how do I get oh shoot! It used to work and now it's not. Oh, you know what? It looks like it reset me back to 3.5. So, in the context of the screenshot, what does the acronym USG stand for? Unite. Oh, what? Oh, that's an annoying. That's really an annoying acronym. Is that commonly used? It really threw me off. I didn't know what it stood for. I thought it stood for like maybe some subdivision of the U.S. government. It really, like, is that typically how, like, an acronym that is used for the U.S. government?
The acronym USG for the United States government is not commonly used in everyday conversation or writing.
Yeah, okay, well, that's weird. That threw me off.
Such as government reports, military documents, or bureaucratic communication. Most people will recognize U.S. government or federal government more readily. The use of USG in the text you provide is unusual and can easily lead to confusion for readers unfamiliar with this abbreviation.
Oh, so I'm trying to get my Bluetooth to connect, then that'll be audible as I like to have it. So, I probably have to disconnect it from something. You know what? I have to disconnect it from my laptop. Oh, no, there we go. Okay, so, yeah, it's not really typical. I was right to be confused by that. All right, so our failure today will be irreversible soon. In the next 10 through 24 months, we will leak key AGI breakthroughs to the CCP. It will be the national security establishment's single greatest regret before the decade is out. I mean, I believe that if we kick off a global race to this new intelligence where instead it could have just been all ours, yeah, it makes sense to me. Like, imagine giving the Gatling gun away to everyone who wanted it, or just like, having it so that people can just take your Gatling gun and use it against you. Yeah, it makes sense to me. The preservation of the free world against the authoritarian states is on the line. And a healthy lead will be the necessary buffer that gives us margin to get AI safety right too. The United States has an advantage in the AGI race, but we will give up this lead if we don't get serious about security very soon. Getting on this now, maybe even the single most important thing we need to do today. So getting on this now is maybe even the single most important thing we need to do today to ensure AGI goes well. Underrate state actors at your peril. Too many smart people underrate espionage. The capabilities of states and their intelligence agencies are extremely formidable, even in normal, non-all-out AGI race times. And from the little we know publicly, nation states or less advanced actors have been able to zero-click hack any desired iPhone and Mac with just a phone number, infiltrate an air-gapped atomic weapons program, modify Google source code, find dozens of 0 days a year that take on average of 7 years to detect, spearfish major tech companies, install keyloggers on employee devices, insert trapdoors in encryption schemes, steal information via electromagnetic emanations or vibration. Yeah, and I've actually seen how to do that. So just use the noise from your password to determine where you are on a video game map or steal a password. Gain direct access to sensitive systems like nuclear power plants. Exfiltrate 22 million security clearance files from the United States government. Expose the financial information of 110 million customers by planting vulnerabilities in HVAC systems. Compromise computer hardware supply chains at large scale. Slip malicious code into updates to software dependencies used by top tech companies and the United States government. Let alone planting spies or seducing, cajoling, or threatening employees, which happens effectively at large scales but is less public. Let alone special forces operations and similar when things get really hot. Yeah, like we've all seen Jocko. Like imagine Jocko is like what are like Jocko versus me. Let's look at a because you know I'm doing the best I can. Well, forget about me. Here, who do you think is going to win in a fight? Jocko Willnick or Leopold Aschenbrenner? I've got Jocko. I'm gonna go with Jocko. I think he will be able to out fight Leopold Aschenbrenner, the author of this here. Yeah, it's really when you're spending this much time at a computer, I think you don't really end up looking like this. And you know, Jocko worked for the government. You know, this is the kind of person that is coming to your apartment and breaking down your door and arresting you or stealing whatever thing you have, or you know, it's there's a big difference between somebody like this and somebody like this. And now we learned about the AI researcher as well. So if you do AI researcher, and then we can do another one, Sam Altman. Who do you think's gonna win in a fight? Sam Altman, which I mean he's in the longevity stuff, so like he might be able to run away, but Yeah, there's Sam Altman, or the other military guy that's really big right now in popular culture, which is don't who's going to move the boats? Yeah. So who do you think's gonna win in a fight? David Goggins or Sam Altman? I mean that's what we've got in the next in the next few years is like state and let's we're this is the USA we're talking about. David Goggins and Jocko, thankfully, for me because I'm a U.S. citizen, work for the U.S. government. Well, let's talk about this. So, Olympic weightlifting. I recently got into Olympic weightlifting because it's just a fun hobby for me, and I kind of look like this, so my body is kind of an advantage for me rather than a detriment. But it surprised me to learn that this is a sport that is actually being dominated by China right now. So this is kind of the best Olympic weightlifter right now. So who do you think would win in a fight here? Lao Zhaoun or Jocko or David Goggins. I mean, honestly, I think he's got a shot. Like if he learns to fight, he's just as strong, if not stronger. Yeah. So here's David Goggins. Yeah, looks like he could win in a fight against most people. And this is an AI. This is an AI. But even the AI, honestly, like let's use the AI to compare. That's an idealized AI drawing. That's not real life. And this is the Chinese star of Olympic weightlifting. They look. He looks like an AI fake drawing. China, when it comes to weightlifting, is that far more advanced in this sport. It just dominates every year at the Olympics. So, who's going to win in a fight? David Goggins, Jocko, or the best natural weightlifting phenomenon out of China, trained to fight, working for the government? It would be a good match. Yeah. So. All right. So let alone special forces operations and similar when things get really hot. And as we've seen, um, they're the United States government is probably is the most so that could this is these security concerns are definitely large concerns. So for a further state of what we're dealing with when facing down intelligence agencies, I highly recommend Inside the Aquarium, a book by a Soviet GRU, military intelligence defector. One spoiler as a taste: on graduation from their spy academy, I guess it's not exactly that. Before being sent overseas, aspiring spies had to prove their skills domestically, so they had to acquire secret information from a Soviet scientist. The penalty for revealing state secrets, of course, was death. That is, graduating from the spy academy meant picking a countryman to condemn to death. And then HT, huge thanks to Ilya Sutskever for the book recommendation. So that's an interesting one. Let me add that to my cart. Oh, and you know what? That's not the name of the book. The name of the book is Inside the Aquarium. Yeah, so it looks like it's like out of print, but I could get it like this. Oh, this is interesting. So, um, what they had to do in Soviet Russia, which might not be surprising to some people, is not only did they have to acquire secret information from a Soviet scientist, they also had to kill the Soviet scientist. That seems kind of dumb. You'd lose a lot of value in having a scientist get killed. But hey, man, it's I guess that's the way they used to do things. So already China engages in widespread industrial espionage. The FBI director stated that PRC has a hacking operation greater than every major nation combined. And just a couple months ago, the Attorney General announced the arrest of a Chinese national who had stolen key AI code from Google to take back with him to the PRC. And I'm not sure exactly what the PRC, I think it's the Chinese intelligence agency, kind of like the CIA. Back in 2022/23, I'm probably just the tip of the iceberg. So 71. By the way, the indictment provides a great illustration of how easy it is to evade security even at Google, which likely has the best security of all the AI labs, given their ability to lean on Google's decades-long investment in security infrastructure. All it took to steal the code without detection was passing code into Apple Notes, then exporting to PDF. Ding infiltrated these files by copying data from the Google source files into the Apple Notes application on his Google issued MacBook laptop. Ding then converted the Apple Notes into PDF files and uploaded them from the Google network into Ding Account 1. This method helped Ding evade immediate detection from the indictment. He only got caught because he did a bunch of other stupid things, like immediately start prominent startups in China, which got people suspicious, and later even came back to the USA as somebody who committed a big crime there. Yeah, that's kind of dumb. So that's somebody who acted in a way in his own self interest and who took undue risks. Imagine what a person who is completely committed to the cause would do. And as this becomes a global race to this super intelligence, which can be used as a super weapon for the military, imagine how many different people, how many people will adopt the mentality of a greater good global cause when it comes to this sort of espionage. I mean, even I'm like, thinking about learning data center and investing in stock, things I would not otherwise have thought to do just because of this document. So when things really start to ramp up, a lot of people are going to really reassess their values. All right, but that's just the beginning. We must be prepared for our adversaries to wake up to AGI. Exactly, and this is just exactly what I just said. In the next few years, AI will become the number one priority of every intelligence agency in the world. In that situation, they will be willing to employ extraordinary means and pay any cost to infiltrate AI labs. All right, and with that, I think this is a great stopping point. It's a natural division in the text, which is kind of rare to get sometimes. So, yeah, this is a great stopping point. Absolutely wild claims in this, supported by, some calculations, maybe not the best. I think it'd be good to get a second opinion because this is somebody who worked for OpenAI that's, devoting their life to AI. So really a biased voice. But at the same time, if you look at ChatGPT, man, it's pretty good. I talk to it on my phone a lot, and man, it really made some changes in my life just this last few week. Um, you know, and imagine that order operating 2 orders of magnitude better by 2027, and all the growth. If it was even just a little bit better than it is now. This pipe organ project that it designed for me, would be so much easier for me to do. And already, it created all these files for me, and it helped me find resources online. We can see. And to find those resources, I used Perplexity. I've actually been thinking about switching to Perplexity because it operates more like a. So help me build a home pipe organ. So it operates more like an academic researcher. So it will. So you can see this is precisely where it came from, and it cites all of its sources there. And I like that, but speed matters a lot to me, and then a conversational tone matters a lot to me as well. So sometimes I don't want to only talk to a academic researcher. I want to receive some of this information in a different way. So I've been thinking about switching to Perplexity, but it's it's like Google won out because it was less busy. So the homepage had this nice, clean, slick, so yeah, and we can see here when I look at PyETS, we actually don't have we don't have the documentation that really no, this isn't it. So the best documentation. Oh, okay. So we do have it here, but it'd be better if it took you here than here, because this is kind of yeah, it's just a lot. I mean, both of these are probably important, but I feel like this one is better. So it's not like it even just gives you the absolute best. Yeah, so we can see the difference between the two. Let's see what ChatGPT does. Yeah, so we can see it doesn't give you where it's citing its sources, but it tells you the key features, which kind of matters more for me to know. So really, that's what I want, is like, what is it used for and why. It's telling me more stuff that I actually care about. I really don't care to see the sources initially. Eventually, I do kind of care to see them, but I could use Perplexity after that, and just plain old Google searching is better. But look at this; it's showing me code examples of what a test script looks like, what a test bed looks like. Now it's not telling me the fact that a YAML file test script has a schema associated with it, so that would be really important to know. And it's not telling me that, so it's still not perfect. But oh man, I mean, look at this! Look at how this is working. And it's going to get 2 orders of magnitude better than this by 2027. So yeah, don't get left behind. That's clear. Even if this author is way exaggerating and is way biased, and I feel like the progress of ChatGPT and even the other AIs is really undeniable. So it's just going to continue on the way it has been in the last few years. And that means $1 trillion investments by 2030. All right, so thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.